On today's exciting episode of Undercover Boss, we're showing you 2 episodes featuring 2 bosses that got their cover blown.
Recognize me? Sure? Yeah.
We will first look at the president and COO of 1-800-Flowers and then the CEO of Fab Burger as they go undercover within their own company and struggle to keep their identities a secret from eagle-eyed employees.
You know, you look like the president of Fatburger.
I'm done. I've blown my cover. This is a total disaster.
We first start with the president and COO of 1-800-Flowers, Chris, and the company is headquartered in New York City, and 1-800-Flowers is the largest flower and gift shop, and they also sell gift baskets, cookies, and chocolates, which contributes to this massive billion-dollar-a-year business. The company is led by 2 brothers, Jim and his younger brother Chris, and Jim founded the business back in 1976, and he only had one small flower shop in the upper side of New York, but by 1984, he had managed to grow the business to 12 shops. With the business blooming, Jim wanted help running the business, so he asked his younger brother Chris to help him run the business. Chris always wanted to become a lawyer, so he wasn't enthusiastic about joining the company at first, but as soon as he started his job, he loved it and the company grew really fast. Jim and Chris are very close as they had to take care of one another since they lost their parents young, but the 2 bosses also have a very different kind of leading style, so they clash while working. Usually on Undercover Boss, the CEO of the company goes undercover, but since Jim is very well known within the company, he doesn't believe that he can go undercover undetected, but Chris, as the COO, mainly focuses on international projects and the day-to-day stuff within the company, so people outside shouldn't really know who he is. And with this opportunity, Chris wanted to show that he can be a great worker and take multiple responsibilities as he one day plans to lead the company as the CEO. Chris will be going undercover as Patrick, an out-of-work house painter traveling with a TV crew making a show on entry-level jobs.
I'll be Patty O'Reilly, an out-of-work house painter traveling with a television crew making a show about entry-level jobs.
For his first job, he traveled to South Plainfield, New Jersey to work with one of the designers, and Chris believes designers are one of the most important employees within the company as their ability to design beautiful arrangements makes them stand out from other brands. He then meets up with Pauline, a florist designer, and she first shows him the design menu, and then they choose a design and she shows him how to design an easy arrangement, and Chris tries to follow her lead but struggles to keep up with her as he was unable to do a good design. Pauline is very passionate about her work and is a very fast worker, but she doesn't get fulfilled by her job as the company still uses outdated designs, and she tells Chris that design menus are made by someone in corporate and that the designs are pretty bad for the time, which is making them lose customers.
You come up with these?
No, I'd love to.
Who does?
I have no clue. Somebody in corporate does it.
Pauline has a lot of ideas on newer designs that customers would love, but the people in the higher-ups don't really listen to her, so she doesn't get to show her immense talent. Chris also learns that Pauline was never given any training from the company, and that when she wants to learn something new, she has to pay out of her pocket and learn it somewhere else.
And shows to get some new ideas. I pay for it out of my pocket.
Your boss doesn't pay for you to do that?
No.
But what?
For his next job, Chris travels to Canton, Ohio to work in their chocolate factory, and chocolate is something new for the company, and Chris is very interested to see how things work from the inside. He meets up with Nicole and she takes him to her station and shows him how to collect the incoming chocolates. She then leaves him alone for a second, and Chris couldn't keep up with the speed of the escalator and the chocolates start falling on the ground.
Slow down for a minute. I got chocolate falling out of the boxes left and right, and the floor is a mess.
And Nicole then rushes back to him and helps him out. While they work together, Chris learns that the factory workers don't feel appreciated, as corporate almost never visits them, and they also don't have an incentive program for people like Nicole that overperform.
The people from the office, Pat, that make these goals, they never come out to see how hard we have to work.
You don't?
No.
The next day, Chris travels to Boston, Massachusetts to work in one of the stores, and he meets up with the store manager, Dee, and she first teaches him how to cut flowers.
You how to cut?
Okay, good. Whatever you need me to do.
All right.
You just cut these just straight across?
At an angle, rather.
Is this good, D?
Very good.
They then serve the incoming customers, and Chris sees why Dee's store is one of the most successful stores in the company. Dee has a great relationship with the customers as she's very polite and does her job perfectly, so the customers come to her specifically because they really like her.
The only flower shop we go to. I mean, the kids come in here and they love it. And Dee's so friendly.
The two work side by side throughout the day, and Chris learns a lot from her, and later, the store's general manager, Stevens, arrives at the job, which is a big problem for Chris as he's met Stevens before, and he's scared that he's gonna figure out who he is and blow his cover.
I've met this guy before. He can blow my cover. I think he's, suspicious.
Chris tries to hide around the back and wait it out until Stevens leaves, but Dee then assigns him to go with Stevens and deliver flowers to a customer. And with no other choice left, Chris joins Stevens, and as soon as he saw him, he recognizes him immediately, and Chris was forced to reveal his true identity. Thankfully, everything was not lost as nobody else knew who he was, so he tells Stevens about what he was doing and makes him promise not to tell anyone.
I'm undercover right now, going around to our businesses trying to figure out how we can do things better. So I need you to keep this confidential. I will. This is extremely important.
The day after, Chris travels to another store in Massachusetts and he meets up with Cheryl, who teaches him the basic things and shows him how to interact with customers. Chris is then left alone to man the store while she takes phone calls in the back, and he was ready for the job, but no customer arrives during his shift.
I have to figure out how I can help her get the customers in the door. There's something wrong there.
He then asks Cheryl if this thing happens regularly, and she reveals to him that because of the company's name, 1-800, people think that it's an online store, so they don't really come into the stores, and this is making them lose a lot of customers, and she suggests changing the branding and the name of the company.
As hard as it is, because the name.
Why would that be?
Because of this area.
For his last job, Chris travels to Brooklyn, New York to work under the production manager, and he meets up with Jose, who is only 19 years old.
How old are you?
19. I started as a general helper.
Yeah?
It's kind of what you're doing now, cleaning up, sweeping, taking out garbage.
Jose's really good at his job, and he teaches Chris well, and while working together, Jose gets a call from his boss telling him that the CEO of the company, Jim, will be visiting that store sometime later. Jim arrives at the shop, claiming to just check up on the stores, but Chris knows he came to check up on him, which really annoys him, and the two act like strangers when they interact, and while Chris was doing his tasks, Jim starts making fun of him, which Chris doesn't really appreciate. Finally, Chris's undercover time comes to an end, and he invites his employees to his office to reveal his true identity. First in was Nicole. Chris remembers her main complaint and reveals to her that the company will start an incentive program so people like her can earn more and feel more appreciated.
Like, I'm a little surprised, and I'm really happy that somebody's noticing that I work so hard.
Next in was Pauline, and he offers her a job as a design counsel in headquarters so she can finally have a say on the new design.
My dad's been gone 8 years, and he helped push me to get to where I am.
And after that was Dee, and he tells her that she's an amazing manager and reveals to her that the new floral design will be named after her.
That they would name a flower after you, that's an amazing honor. I can't even put it into words.
After that was Cheryl, and he tells her that he's taken her recommendation and offers her a job in the marketing department.
I've never had anybody just recognize me for what I have to offer.
Last but not least was Jose, and he tells him that he was impressed by his leadership skills at just 19 years old and offers to mentor him, and then promises him $25,000 for when Jose is eligible to becoming a franchise owner.
Brother, and I was speaking to him, Mom, and he was my mentor, Mom. We're gonna open up a franchise business, but I can't believe it, Mom.
And next, let us follow our next boss, the CEO of Fab Burger, Andy.
Andy Wiederhorn, I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Fatburger.
Headquartered in LA, California, Fab Burger is one of the fastest growing fast food chains in the world, and they have over 150 restaurant locations in 27 countries and employ about 3,800 people. Fatburger was started in 1952 in South Central LA by Lovey Yancey, and she started in a small shop and sold quality burgers that artists in that area appreciated. The business immediately grew, and Lovey opened 20 locations in a short time, and now the business revenue has reached $100 million and has also garnered celebrity investors like Kanye and Queen Latifah. Andy was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and from a young age, he was interested in business. His dream came true when he started real estate by the age of 23, and by the time he was 30, the company was worth $100 million. But his luck turned for the worst in 1998 during the real estate market crash. And just like that, all his hard work was gone, but things got even worse as he was arrested and spent 14 months in prison for unknowingly violating pension fund laws when he was trying to save his company. After coming out of prison, he wanted to start fresh with a new company, so he joined Fab Burger as a CEO and has led it ever since. Andy will be going undercover as Myron, a former real estate agent looking to trade in his desk job for the opportunity to win his own restaurant. For his first job, he travels to Sherman Oaks, California to work in the kitchen. He meets up with Val, and after giving him the proper wear, she takes him to the kitchen and shows him how to make a burger. Val is a fast worker, but Andy's also really good at assembling a burger, which makes Val suspicious, since a person that has never done this job shouldn't be this good at it. Val then further investigates as she looks closer at him and she suspects him of being their CEO. Val doesn't confront him though, but when Andy goes out for a little break, Val talks to her other employees and they all agree that he looks like the CEO.
He's in the real estate, but the real estate market is really bad.
I thought he looked.
Exactly.
He looked like.
Don't he look like Andy?
She then decides to confront him and asks him directly. Andy, knowing that there's no way out of it, decides to reveal his true identity.
I've blown my cover. This is a total disaster.
He looks like him?
Like, really like a brother.
And he then asks for her honest opinions on the company and what needs to be improved. Val tells him that there should be a centralized maintenance list so problems can be fixed quickly. Andy's grateful for her suggestion and makes her promise not to tell anyone else. And the next day, he travels to Reno, Nevada to work under the shift leader, and he meets up with Lisa and she teaches him how to work on the cash register and then take orders from the customers. This store usually underperforms, and Andy figures out the reason why as he learns that the restaurant always runs out of important items, which is hurting their sales. Lisa tells them that they regularly send back customers because they run out of meat, which is the most basic thing for a burger restaurant.
We have run out of meat before, and we've had to turn people away, and they get upset, and they don't come back.
And for his next job, he goes to Carson, California to work as a banker, and he meets up with Ramon and he takes him to the assembly line and shows him how to take the imperfect bread out. Andy's usually very good at everything that he does, but this time he struggles to keep up with the speed.
Working in the bakery is a physically demanding job. It's grueling, it's intense. You gotta keep your eye on it. It's happening quickly. There's a lot of stress.
Which forces Ramon to stop the machine and take Andy off the task. On their break, Andy learns that Ramon has been working for the company for 25 years, and he's never missed a day in his life. Ramon also shares that he's been working to get his wife to stay in America, but the immigration process has been hard, which is making him spend all his money on lawyers.
Problem to deal with right now regarding his wife's immigration status, and yet he's committed to his family and he's committed to his job. He's been here 25 years.
Finally, for his last job, Andy travels to Mesa, Arizona, and he meets up with Angelica, and she takes him to the kitchen and teaches him how to make onion rings. While working together, Andy notices a lot of the machines in the kitchen were not working perfectly, which indicates the franchise owner doesn't really check up on the place.
Is that the side doesn't work. Absolutely can't use it. This is kind of broken. I can't turn it off, and it just sprays everywhere.
He later learns from Angelica herself that the franchise owner doesn't really care about the restaurant and that the employees are also not really treated well.
And so it's really like, so I'm working for you, but why? Because you don't care about me.
Andy's undercover time finally comes to an end, and he invites his employees to his office to reveal his true identity. First in was Ramon, and he thanks him for being a great employee and gives him $50,000 to help with his wife's immigration payments.
Be hard and help me. I'm so happy, and I would say thank you so much for everything that happened to me.
Next in was Angelica, and Andy was very impressed by her and gives her $10,000 so she can have a vacation, and he also offers to pay for her school tuition and later talks to the franchise owner to fix the problems in the restaurant.
Good luck to you.
It feels so good to finally have someone that's listening and responding back. It's amazing.
Next in was Lisa, and he tells her the issue with products missing will be fixed, and as a reward for her hard work, he also offers to pay her rent for the next year and also gives her $10,000 so she can get a new car.
I'm so overwhelmed and amazed. I can't believe this just happened to me.
The fact that he shared his life story with me about being locked up, that says a lot about him.
Last in was Val, and he tells her that she was a great manager and offers her a promotion which will come with a raise of $10,000 and gives her another $10,000 for her to spend on whatever she wants.
It really made me feel appreciated. I just, overwhelming.